Yep.
A really long time. Literally, my family adopted a dog. And
Do you want me to get?
I haven't met her.
Yeah.
They can't replace you. Well, everybody, we're going to get started. So I want to welcome you to East End Books P-Town. And this is, I think, the only event that's actually in the store or near the store this summer, since we've taken our show on the road this summer, and our events are in the library. They're at 20 Summers, Fine Arts Work Center. Everybody's been great. Schoolhouse Gallery, WMR. So all that to say that when you look at the event page for an event you're interested in that we're doing this summer, just make sure you take a look at where it is, the location, so you go to the right place. So yes, and we got questions again and email again. The latest we heard, although nothing happens on time, and I can tell you that having just opened a bookstore in the Seaport, but supposedly in the fall the park is going to be finished. I don't know if it really will be, but it's going to be beautiful, the public park out back, and more importantly for people visiting on the East End, it's going to have a public bathroom. There are only two on the East End, the library and Pam Art Museum, so this is very important. The town has invested a lot of money and time into creating what's going to be a gorgeous spot back there, so we're really excited about that. Events that are coming up on our website, you'll see the listing by month of the events that are happening. If you go on our website, you can get our newsletter, and we have a weekly newsletter that has book reviews and also talks about the book events. All the events are ticketed, but it's $5, or there's always a free ticket option on every one as well. The most important reason about doing that is, if you have the $5, it helps defray the cost of what it costs us to do these events and the advertising. But even if you're RSVPing with a free ticket, it just helps us know how many chairs and how many books and that kind of thing. So please do that when you can. All right, events that are close to selling out that are coming up. Time is really flying. Friday the 26th of July, the Brad Gooch conversation with the brilliant new book Radiant, the Keith Haring book, in conversation with Ken Falk, is almost sold out. There's two things happening there, so you'll see it on our event page. So we have our regular book event at the Davis Event Space at WMR, second floor, 6 p.m. Normal pricing, free or $5, or you can add the book. And then people that want to support the wonderful nonprofit 20 Summers, there's a beautiful dinner honoring them. It'll be downstairs at the former Goa Gallery behind Schoolhouse Gallery, and that 20 Summers is leased that space, and they're going to be extending their season now, so they'll be doing events throughout the year, so you'll get a sneak peek into that. So that's happening. Then the Doris Kearns Goodwin event on August 8th. Right now there are no more in-person tickets available, but there are a live stream with the book, and you can get that signed, and we anticipate that there will be some additional ticketing for in-person. This is an event with Doris's team, and she's, of course, around the country right now on her book tour, and then with Ken Falk and the Provincetown Art Society, so we're working with them on that. And that'll be a dinner benefiting Provincetown Art Society, so that's another thing we're partnering, and all the money goes to Provincetown Art Society. The other one that's getting very full is August 23rd at the Fine Arts Work Center. We have Michael Cunningham in conversation with Ben Shattuck. Ben's brilliant new short story collection, Link's short story collection, is out, and you can see that. And then in the audience there will be a certain actress we love, but she will not be on the dais because her book doesn't come out until October. So in Boston, sometime in the fall, we're waiting on the final date, we're going to have that actress, Jenny Slate, with her new book, Ben Shattuck with his book, and a National Book Award winner, Julia Glass. So that'll be announced soon. We'll have that on there. So we really appreciate you coming. This is, for me, having these two wonderful poets means a lot. But on top of everything else, in another life, I was publisher of the Anhinga Press, which is a nonprofit, like the Bird, that one of the biggest publishers of poetry in the country. And so this is really means a lot to me. And I'm glad you're turning out for these two, I think, very groundbreaking poets. We will have signed copies after the event. If you want a personalized copy, to Jeff, to Sally, to whoever. Buy the book before this event ends and tell us in the memo section. We get the email and I check them after the event. So otherwise we will have regular signed copy available, and I'm going to have some of these at our Boston store as well. So you'll have them there as well. So wanted to just say very briefly, Natalie Shapiro is the author of 2 previous collections, Hard Child and No Object, and her writing has appeared in the New York Times Magazine, the New Yorker, Poetry, and elsewhere. She teaches at Tufts University? Or is that old?
University of California, Irvine.
University, okay. Just reading since
yeah, no, it's
like you forgot your stuff, I forgot my intro, so I'm reading from your book.
Yeah.
You heard that, right? And then, let me know if I need to change anything from the back of your book. But Anthony DiPietro is a gay sex poet and arts administrator, originally from Providence, Rhode Island. He's lived throughout New England and California, New York, Oregon, and Tennessee. He's a graduate of Brown University with honors in creative writing, where he also earned a creative writing MFA at Stony Brook University. He's the deputy director of Rose Art Museum at Brandeis University and resides in Worcester, Massachusetts. He composed his 2021 chapbook and walkthrough by Seven Kitchens Press on a typewriter during the pandemic lockdowns. Kiss and Release is his debut collection. His writing and readings are featured on his website, and we've got that information. It's anthonywriter.com, but that's also on the event page if you want contact information for both of them. And so without further ado, I give you to our 2 wonderful poets.
Thank you so much. Yeah, if anyone wants to come sit down, there are seats.
And there's more chairs right there as well, just stacked up.
Thanks so much everyone for coming. I'm like very, very stoked to be reading with Anthony for his amazing book, and to like be in this town, which is really beautiful. I'm gonna read
Chairs up here. Chairs up here if you want to sit down.
just feel like I'm gonna read a few new poems, and then I'm gonna read from this book, which it came out during the COVID times, so it's like I very much appreciate being able to do like a in-person event for it. I did these wacky semi unsuccessful readings in my like bedroom in a deranged way over Zoom, so this is gonna be way more regular. Okay, this poem is called Spacewalk. Big deal, the solar system is replete with rubble left over from its formation. Join the club. All my circulating garbage and nowhere for it to go. I used to talk stuff out with the dead, but now I can't even do that anymore. They stopped understanding my references. They failed to intuit tone. We are witnessing an unprecedented divide between this life and after. They only want to be with their own. I drown myself, but unfortunately I can't find the ocean. Though it seems like just a minute ago it was right here, with its bread knife fish and its putty knife fish and all its landed capsules down from space. Travelers welcome home. I heard they give each astronaut a pill to end it all up there, if needed, if the spacewalk turns out bleakest. Look around. You know what I want to know. Do they get to keep it? Okay. This poem is called Capacity Crowd. I'm sick of waiting for this city to work me out of itself like a splinter. I'm sick of producing my own subsistence as a way to literally express my being alive. I'm sorry to have died and not really noticed, but I've been so busy loving what you're wearing and pouring my paint right into the dip in the street that drains to the sea. I never saw myself represented in art until that movie where the one guy was fed to the wood chipper. Bye. I was so proud, I cried. And as a transition between those poems and this book, I'll tell you a joke. I didn't write the joke. Read it in a joke book. Do y'all know Orion's belt? Yeah. Huge waste of space. Like huge, like waste, like of, yeah. Like waste of space. Yeah. I think that joke is okay. I give it 3 stars. Okay. My hair is my thing. The symphony's out of funding again, and no wonder. All those violins, the twisted strands and sponges, who could not think of torture? Last week I read a novel about a man so awful that when he died I wept because it was fiction. I wanted it to be real, and to watch him really die. And I wanted you to die also, and to be feted with a lengthy organza-filled funeral, so that I could make a big show of blowing it off. I decided to go out and get a tattoo of your funeral with me not there, but apparently it's illegal here to tattoo a person who's crying. The trend is to be interred with beloved possessions. Pearl trim gun, gold watch, whatever you got. Some people recoil at the waste of it, but not me. These confused little objects of wealth, they're so disgusting. I just pray we have earth and shovels enough. I pray we have bodies enough to bury them all. Okay, I have to take off my glasses because I need bifocals, but not yet. And I'm in I'm in the middle where they can't help you yet, but you can't see it yet.
Or are you just putting it off?
That's a really good question that no one invited.
Sorry.
Magpie. Unusual rain of late, and a new weed that resembles concertina wire is threading itself through the dirt. Seeing it makes me think of never seeing it again. How I will miss this upstart greenness after I lose it all and am thrown from this home, which will be soon. It'll be someone else living here then, hiding an emergency key in a bucket, up late snaking the bath drain or early doing sit-ups on the painted floor. It'll be someone else walking 1.5 miles to the store called Magpie, buying a gift for whatever friend's baby, a rattle or small shirt with a transit map. The name Magpie is meant to conjure up a gorgeous, inky creature culling treasures to bring back. But if you really get close to a magpie's nest, you see it's all trash. Have at it. When you work here for 10 years, you get a blanket. The blanket has their name on it, not yours. I am conducting an anecdotal study of longtime employees, and I have yet to find one person who uses the thing to keep warm. M reported placing it between her children in the dirt before they all sat down to a meal outside. S recounted how she'd wrestled it out of a half-stuck bureau drawer to wrap her beagle's body after he died. She buried that dog herself, in her bloomless little side yard, and registered embarrassment when the meter reader caught her there intoning over the body with a hymnal. But why should she be embarrassed? It certainly can't be beneath us to bless our animal dead, when all our scientists do all day is endeavor to prove that great apes mourn, that elephants mourn, that houseflies mourn, that when a fiddle-leaf ficus succumbs, another ficus keens in its earthenware. We would like to confirm that everyone is recognized in death. Unseen as we are in this life is all we have. Green. I saw an image of Cleopatra being delivered to Caesar in a rolled-up rug, just fallen out of the rug, and at work I began to be worried. That others, and especially those in supervisory roles, viewed me as green, temperamentally inexpert. I tried wearing crisper shirts, but it did not help. So of course when all my friends began to die, I found at last a means of proving myself through inattention to their passing. I refrained from sharing remembrances. That time we pulled B's ruined tooth, or when Elle and I hiked out to the obverse side of the Hollywood sign. When colleagues sought to console me, I offered only the stoic rejoinder, death is a part of life. I underwent my yearly performance assessment and was prompted to name a task at which I excelled. I responded, really knowing that death is a part of life. And when they requested I then articulate a plan for the coming year, I said, speaking louder when stating that death is a part of life, and perhaps appending an amplifying gesture. I returned to my desk and removed my heels and capped my pen and called B's mom and told her about the tooth. She recounted for me his younger years, mud-covered or up to his shoulders in the cold ocean. She said he had been ready to die, that through his suffering he'd sworn it several times. Though also he'd said several times he was not ready. It was tough to know. stoop. All I can think when I catch the dog out by the stoop with a rat in her mouth is I thought it would never happen to me. That's what the rat, I say to myself, must be saying. Having surely borne witness to how many other rats gnawed on by how many herders and hounds, and yet fancying all that time herself immune. And don't get her started on the thorniest part, how the fact that it happens so frequently means her misery is nothing special. How the moment of her truest trauma is also the pinnacle of her own commonness, and it's juvenile to cry for the everyday. So get over yourself, I say to the rat, who squeaks each time the dog bites down, sounding just like those rubber chew toys, which I suddenly understand are made to make the noise of something getting killed. That was an epiphany that I had when I thought my dog had found a chew toy. And then I was like, nope, that's a rat.
Oh.
That's not good. Interesting.
And stay out. Rough days I'm trying to live as though dead, to satisfy or at least dampen the inclination to actually die. I'm holding mainly still. I'm forming my face into no specific expression. I'm lowering the lights so I can't see my poster of one world leader grinning and shattering over the head of another, a trick bottle of champagne. A dead person wouldn't be looking at that, or at anything. Stop thinking about the theory that slaughter has coarsened the population, that the only ones who managed to stay hale or half well in atrocious times were the ones who wouldn't share, who would tear from smaller arms damp rations and standard issue disaster blankets, part wool, part synthetic, resistant to flame. Stop knowing that these were the only people who lived long enough to pass themselves on, to breed. Stop being absurd. And stop saying breed. Dead people don't need that word. "50. He said, if you keep punishing yourself like this, you'll be old by the time you're 50. And right there, in the instant of him saying it, I became 50. And I was never able to go back. And it was never made clear to me what might have transpired in the obliterated years between. Had I performed myself inside them exceedingly quickly, or had I not lived them at all? I felt as though I had memories, a de-accession painting, hovel with keyhole doorway, anecdotes of conglomerates and their cocktail napkin origins. Was I supposed to be charmed? Hardest of all was the recentness of every egregious outburst, every midnight plummet, the adjacency I could not wish away. I was 50, and my worst mistakes I made yesterday. Other things, if not more urgent things. How to get close without going over. How to feign lust for whatever's on offer. How the largest possible quantity of anything is a lifetime. A lifetime of oat bran. A lifetime of timing belts. A lifetime of saying, sure, why not? I'm only on Earth X number of years and not knowing what to make X. Sometimes I pick a number I already passed. I remember the gambler's credo. When you only have $50 left in this world, you better get rid of it fast. The last thing you want is money around, reminding you every day of the money you lost. The recommended retirement plan is arabesque, then leap and smash on the seawall. We made a promise not to catch each other. Fake sick. The past is the same as anything else. We built it, and now we can't kill it. We keep lurching at it with the scoring axe and connecting with the wall instead. That punishing season, the hall lights hitch, the door off its hinge, I'm ready to stop remembering. The trouble is there's nobody else who can do it. A memory isn't a metal grill drawn down on a storefront at night and unlocked in the morning. You can't fake sick, call in. There's no other person to wake in the slate dawn, drive into downtown, locate the recess, collapse the gate, maneuver the thing out of view. There's only you. And I'm just going to close with the last poem in the book. Thank you so much for having me at this shop. It's called Pennsylvania. Sometimes people are like, why is this poem called Pennsylvania? And I'll tell you, because it takes place in Pennsylvania. Other children children, when I was a child, would at times invoke the inner light. I misunderstood. I thought it meant God scorches within us, and God, like a torch, can go out. That was so long ago. I've since ceased my believing in death. There's no such thing. There's only a kind of a brown out, the whole of the globe shuttering off for a moment, and then coming back, the same as it was, except one person short. And then before long, an utter new person is born. Somebody worse. Thanks.
Hi, thank you all for being here, and thank you East End Books for having us. This is kind of a dream come true. I've been coming to Provincetown since I think 2007, studying at Fine Arts Work Center and writing and trying to get better at it. I've been rethinking my decision to let Natalie read first tonight because now I have to follow you. No, but what I love, but it's great because I can talk about your work. What I love about Natalie's work is that it's so surprising. I think that's the main thing that sticks in my head, and it's something that I also go for in my work. I had foreknowledge that you might read without actually needing the script. I didn't practice, but I think I might be able to do the opening poem in the book without looking. When I was an Uber driver, friends asked for my horror stories. I said my scariest customers were 4 young Republican lawyers, drunk from a long day of golf. Pick up at Pinebrook Country Club, heading home to Newton Highlands. The one guy looking at the back of my head had ordered the car. Each of his 3 buds stumbled across their lawns to kiss their wives with reeking breath. After they left, my customer said, "My friends are not bad guys," which let me know he thought they were real assholes. He was sorry they talked about golf versus tennis and which was a real man's sport. I said, golf is not the most important thing in life, but there are worse things you could say in someone's back seat. Very level-headed of you, he said. I like you. I'd back you for Congress. Then he asked what I thought of the gun debate. I knew not to answer. Uber driver training was only a 9-minute YouTube vid, but it distinctly said, never venture into politics or religion. Instead, I steered the conversation to where we grew up. And that's how we realized that Will and I went to the same college, him 2 years behind me. He was the one who hosted a foursome once at his dorm, all guys, and I left in the middle. I wanted the hot one for myself. The other 2 were boring. I had encountered Will one other time in the basement restroom of the research library. There was I, hard in his soft cheeks, holding his pierced ears, giving him the rhythm, his small, toothy mouth, not doing a great job, but he was really trying. And Natalie and I got to take a walk today, so I hadn't planned my my reading yet. So this is a poem that we talked about today. I'm glad to know that you liked it. I'll read it.
I'll do it. Go ahead.
The Violent Barrett. Spoiler alert, trigger warning. At the end of the novel, I want to know why Flannery O'Connor raped her main character, Tarwater. I ponder it on a random Wednesday, lying in sunshine in an urban driveway, the cider beer in hand, and a woman I don't know who lives below us bellows angrily down the street. Did he deserve it for drowning his dim-witted cousin compared to a beast throughout the text? Was it revenge or revelation? And if you live in a city, you know how this goes. There are too many of us now. You have certainly heard a woman scream or 2 men on a sidewalk where you were scurrying by, and you, with back hair standing up, surely walked, not toward the chaos, but away. I go upstairs, deciding not to think any more today about people doing evil, and what would go really nice with my salad is steak tips. I remember a grown son with just such a knife killed his father during supper at their dinner table on a street where Kid Me played all summer. And what O'Connor doesn't show us. What kind of man does Tarwater become? I write in my journal, we leave this world when it becomes too dangerous for us. I read the poem that ends, Now, how can that be, child? How can that be? And I thought, since we're in P-Town, I'd read this kind of cheeky poem, my ode to the gay culture to which I belong. It's called Anything You Can Do. What I learned as an urban gay man is this: we are always so generous. During the ritual kiss of hello, they can pass a tab of ecstasy from tongue to tongue unnoticed by any third man in the room who lightly fingers the ivory keys. And they come prepared. The burliest bear at the fireman's ball always carries a clacker fan, and his partner offers the vape pen or poppers from his pocket. I swear on my pearls the skills they have. I do not mean the obvious fashion and art, though they'll compose a symphony on iPhone on board the sinking Titanic. I mean like removing a nightclub wristband without using teeth, and pouring a beer in control of head of foam. They are bookmakers, Dungeons and Dragons game masters. They have fixed my wheel alignment, flown my plane, and cured my chlamydia. It was a cinch, and some are even architects. Never mind that they're know-it-alls. They build bridges, erections that actually move and improve the sight lines of ocean and sky, and palm tree views, which are already always changing anyway. Gay guys just came and made and did it a whole lot better. This book has a long poem that kind of is woven through it and presented in what I call 7 movements. So I think some of them, they create like an interlude or like a breath for the reader. So sometimes I'll be reading from those. This is it's called Love is Finished Again. This is Love is Finished Again, 2nd movement. Like if you stand in shadow and keep still while the sun travels, you will once again be kissed by sun. Or if you stand in a puddle, the sun will dry it if you wait. And if you turn a right corner 4 times, you will come back to the point where you began. Finished, love, just like that. Like opening a mirrored cabinet on your left and another mirror on your right to create the infinity mirror effect. Or like being penniless right before payday, and then your bank balance rebounds. Love is finished like that. So there are some romantic, or I say romantic poems in the book because they're about relationships. Probably the best, the emotion that I write the best is probably longing, but or loss. This poem is kind of in the center of the book. It's called Draft Divorce Decree. Every token I have given you shall remain your property, except the ring which, let the record show, you refuse to return. But I have its twin, so that's fine. And you retain ownership rights to the world's furry bunnies and all woodland creatures, which remind me of you anyway. Permission to trade fathers is granted. Our mother's custody will be handled jointly. I must have my ancestors' burial site and the river that borders it. And all the highways in America were mine to begin with, and you shall have all railway rights. You have Lay Lake, Alabama, with the cabin and pontoon boat your parents own, and gray trees thick as an armory turret. But don't think everything south of Mason-Dixon's yours, because Virginia is for lovers, and Knoxville is the scruffy city no one loves as I do. And as for all bicycle paths, we will have to work out a signaling system, otherwise we will collide, and that won't do while I train myself to believe you are dead or never existed, not walking these streets where I might walk, these brick sidewalks I've walked all my life. Therefore, all of New England is mine, but you have lifetime rights to reside here, a sort of ground lease granted to you this day by me. And you can have Montreal in summer if I have the other 3 seasons, because that's fair. Amsterdam shall be yours, but I claim the right to visitation exactly twice. All of the castles of Europe, yours, except romantic France, shall be mine to roam, unless you're on a layover or you pass through by rail. All islands of the world are also yours because I get seasick easily, Remember the drug you slipped me that doubled my vision, and you dimmed the light and kept watch. Next day came the ring, and I said I would put my life in your hands again, which I did when you drove the jet ski at Lay Lake, where I return whenever I dream a perfect place. In fact, when I find myself there, that's precisely how I know that I am dreaming. There's also a lot of poems in the book that travel. I like poems that travel, and at a certain point it was a revelation for me that poems could sort of time travel. You know, you could be in one place in time and then the next line be in another place in time. This is one of the sonnets in the book. It's called Summers I Would Drive Across America. Green Hill, Black Lake, Peacock's firework display. I've never met a country I didn't like. The girl I meet for the first time every night, every noon on the footpath from woods. Someone hands us a Klan meeting flyer with Saddam Hussein's photo on back. Is it true while we slept that our army invaded Turkey over a matter of pocket money? Is that real, or did I make that up? Like any good soldier that night, I say, tell me you love me, as Barbara Cartland has put it, madly. The only person who gets my humor is my mother. I turn to my iPhone, Google sunset photos to see if this one's accurate. Girl X and I stand on a cliff above folks singing the national anthem, aching, baroque, and gorgeous. Why shouldn't they? I'm chewing gum and watching her with my one good eye follow her sisters in darkness. We slide down the slide with eyes closed, holding tight to each other. The dense forest plants have grown taller than us. Above us, they lean in to kiss. This is the other sonnet in the book. Who's a zodiac person, follow like Capricorn, right? That's you. How to date everyone under the sun. When you wish to impress a Pisces, draw one tarot card. Let it be Page of Cups. To ensnare an Aries, wear your sailor's hat everywhere. How to land a Leo? With your leather jacket, tie both hands behind your back. To make your Cancer care, come with cotton gauze wrapped broken ribs. To adore your Virgo, think of the violin, how its scratchy throat makes exquisite sounds. How to catch your Taurus? Chocolate-covered cherries, champagne in bed. How to love a Libra? Talk like a lawyer. Make love with witnesses present. To goose a Gemini, 2 truths and a lie. But if you play, don't let them win. To court your Scorpio, tell secrets not your own. Show the dune beach where drowned bodies resurface. How to stir Sagittarius. In bed, arrange silk threads belonging to no one you know. To capture Capricorn, flee paparazzi first class. Always pay cash. How to acquire Aquarius. Send a message to reach him when your ship vanishes on the horizon. Let it be a moon song. Here's another romantic poem in the book with a distinctly kind of gay point of view. It's called Unrequited Fuckboy. The way I love you is only possible because I know next to nothing about you, boy from the neighborhood. I know your eyes that look as if you wear permanent eyeliner. I love the lashes that protect them and could swat a fly from across the sunroom. I know your rules, like condoms, no exceptions. While we make love, I insist you look deep in my eyes, and if you force me to insist one more time, I may playfully slap your cheek while I whisper. What is more intimate than a whisper? What is the real reason you can't love me back? Is it your white-collar family with their sailboat in the bay and summers on the island? Is it because I prefer the taste of artificial coconut to your unsweet, earth-safe, organic water? Mumbler, your mouth barely opens whenever you speak. Will you never make clear declarations? Will all conversations be bedroom conversations after I render you too tired to leave? But you do leave whenever I suggest you stay. Will you never stay from first whiskey until next day? Will I never write an aubade, a poem for lovers who part at dawn? The only poem I know how to write is the aubade's opposite, a fragment of two queers cruising after midnight. I wanted to find poems that were sort of in conversation with Natalie's book. The other thing I love about your book is that there's this sense of living in the real world. You know, the things we kind of encounter every day, like the gift from our employer on your 10th anniversary, and I think if there's any poem in my book that speaks to that in that way is this poem. It's called Career Planning for Young Poets. Darling, when we were 19, the question, what do you do, had no answer, and you went away to India to dig maggots from forgotten street dogs' wounds before they rotted. I stayed home to see about a job and got to see American Pie the weekend it came out. I stayed and opened my first credit card and bought a bus ticket for Rome, New York for Woodstock 99. You got used to mud and learned to kill chickens, and I went for the music. Okay, I went for the first boy I didn't know I loved, who loved alt rock. Okay, I did it for that monster truck guitar hook from that damn good song, My Own Worst Enemy. We couldn't know generals somewhere smoked fat cigars and planned wars for your men to go fight. I figured if I bragged of my first blowjob, I myself could sidestep combat. I consumed as my patriotic duty. Okay, I ate for comfort and got an eating disorder. I stayed home so someone could say hi to your parents whenever I swam in their green pool at night. Nothing was certain except it would kill us to become them. I was boring and thought you a hypocrite who loved every place you went and cared nothing for people because they can't love the planet and your gods, the animals and trees. And I only felt free when I bought my first car loan. Our love then, not so much fragile as untested, and now the world sees me richer than you. I own a piece of rock and the city's cross-hatched lots, and you work clearing trails. I pay my taxes and deduct my debt. I separate my waste and compost bones and seeds and try to take the stairs. My bicycle rusts, and I write in my head en route to the office. And sweet, I can't even drive my hybrid to the country to see you without stopping off the highway to buy a latte and a scone. I'd like to read one more from the book and then something newer that's kind of fun. So I usually include this in my readings because I know the poems can be depressing, and the book ends on a little bit of a hopeful note. The last poem in the book is called Enough. I think I could read this without looking too, but I'm afraid. I'm not a New Yorker, but I can walk like one. And one warm night I cross 8th Ave at 14th Street, which is Rufus Wainwright's best song. But don't let that major key big brass and Broadway piano fool you. When someone hurls your heart like a potted plant from the roof of a 10-story building, you will feel all your organs shrivel. And I happened to raise my head in time to see emerge from the subway station below 2 Latino men, older than I am, 50 maybe, turn to each other and say, "Love you," and press their wet lips together in that sound and gesture in Swedish, puss puss. The men part in different directions, and relief straightens my back, and I think, for this rare minute, there is enough love in the world. And I forgot to print this poem, so I handwrote it, but this is something newer from the book, the next book I'm trying to write, in which the God of Love is a major figure and sometimes speaks in the royal we. This is called The God of Love Explains Polyamory, Part 1. We kissed another man. We got drunk and gave an erotic massage. We drove to his dorm in thick, wet snow, the blizzard giving us no choice but to cheat. We boned the assistant rowing coach. We asked a basketball fan with big biceps if we could touch his muscles. We think he has a podcast now. We kissed a man whose face smelled like burgers. We have smelled and tasted worse. In a doorway, we kissed a man the first time he said, I love you. That man made us a 33-year-old widow. Have we ever told you that we kissed another man at a party while he was at work? 1 week later, kissed again by the bar's pink mirror while his friends watched. We debated the ethics of that. We slept with 2 lawyers on the same day. We kissed a man holding an umbrella, waiting for a train. We kissed that same man's twin. Beside the ocean at low tide, we kissed another man with poisonous intentions to kill. If you've ever tried to let go of a man, you know it is the hardest thing. And more than once, beyond limits of mind, we kissed another man and saw the dark fabric of space and time. We invented fucking to stab through the thin veil curtain. We existed everywhere and in this very bed. By now you get the idea. We held on to literally none of them, not one. What else can we say, babe? We came home and ran up the stairs to tell you this. That's all I have. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Did you have?
Does anybody have any questions they want to ask? See if there's anything. Oh, so there's one question for both people. Where do you get your inspiration for your poems?
That's a good question and a hard question.
It's kind of all over the place, but I was one of these poems I read. I remember was really straight out of a dream, and so a lot of times I try to tap into my dreams because they're weirder than life. I guess.
I watch a lot of TV.
No one else? Not even somebody intimately involved in poetry? So I don't think we didn't discuss this on the live stream, but I know I asked you mentioned already you're working on a new book, but you've got another one coming soon, right? Or in a year or so?
Yeah, at the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. It's probably called Stay Dead.
Interesting.
I like that. My book has a working title, The God of Love is a Battlefield. A lot of 80s music in this book.
Nice. Very good. Well, if there are no other questions, we'll go to book signing. That's good. Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.